Hey everyone, I'm here with the third person voted out of Survivor NCSU Season 2, Jay. Jay, how are you doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks for asking. So the new episode just aired, and unfortunately, you were the one voted out of the new STEM tribe. How are you feeling about watching everything now that you've seen it?
Well, I will say it was really jarring because I was just really I'd almost forgotten about how early I got voted out. Almost. I was just sort of enjoying seeing myself on camera, and then the episode came out, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I don't last very long, do I?" um, I mean, it was definitely interesting getting to see everything that I didn't see the first time, especially like when I was on Exile and whatnot. But seeing, like, people talking about voting me out and then seeing myself get voted out was definitely painful.
Yeah, like watching it, so you have like all the perspectives. It's definitely a different experience than being in the game. I kind of want
Absolutely.
to start off, kind of before the season even started. I mean, the episode 3 title is "She doesn't even go, like they don't even go here." Um, where do you go? Where do you live? Tell me about how you got cast on Survivor.
I live in Alabama, actually. I'm 500 miles away. I am planning to attend NCSU. I'll be moving to Raleigh hopefully this next year.
Mhm.
Um, I Sam's been my best friend for basically years now. Sam and I are like insanely close, and I watched him on his season. I was like, I wanna play. Like that seems fun. I want to play in that. And he was like, well, you can apply, but I'm not sure you'll be allowed to. And I was like, well, I might as well. And then I got cast. I got the acceptance email 2 weeks before the show, so I had to like plan everything, like book a flight, book a hotel, and get to Raleigh in 2 weeks. So that was stressful. I spent like $2,000 to get voted out third, so
I mean, that's a lot of dedication right there. I mean, but you made it. You made it on
yeah.
cast. So right off the bat, the season starts. I mean, you flew all the way to Alabama. Ryan lines you guys up, season 2, and he says that there's 15 of y'all, and one of you has to go to Exile Island. You guys all draw a rock, and you are the lucky one to draw the odd rock, and you're sent to Exile Island. Kind of give me your experience and kind of your thoughts after you draw that rock.
Lucky. Uh, well, I will say when I first opened my hand, I didn't even notice because it was clear. So I was looking for white and it was clear. And then I looked at the people next to me and I realized how different in color theirs were. And I was like, wait. And he was like, who drew the right white marble? And I just closed my hand, lifted my hand up in the air, and I just didn't even know what to say. Like my reaction was just stunned. So I knew I had to like say something to not to mostly for the camera. I just had to say
Yeah.
something. So I would just like, I'm not going home first. And yeah, I was not thrilled about that. I walked off to do my interview for it with Sam, and he was like, this is probably a good thing. I was like, no, I don't think it is.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we definitely see after you kind of are in a little bit of a rocky position. I kind of want to talk about that too. In episode 2, after Maggie was voted out, we see you join the STEM tribe, and we get a confessional from you saying that it's not the tribe that you wanted to be on. What were your kind of first impressions about everyone, and what kind of gravitated you more towards wanting to be in the humanities tribe?
Well, I wanted to be on humanities because I'm a humanities major. For like first and foremost, I'm a fashion student, so being on STEM, it was like I don't belong here. I don't really fit in here. And it's also like, especially in hindsight, after watching the season, it's like I feel like I would have been so much better off if I'd been on the tribe I was supposed to be on in the first place. So it's kind of like that's a little unlucky, but really unlucky was just my motto this entire season, wasn't it?
I mean, yeah, definitely didn't get the best stack of cards dealt your way. I mean, so ultimately you do end up on the STEM tribe, and on Exile Island, we see that you get a legacy advantage, and you get also a confessional saying that you don't want to tell a single soul. And I don't believe it's on the episode, but I'm pretty sure you tell Lee. Is that correct?
Yeah, Lee was the only person I was planning on telling because I'd seen Lee's season. I'd spoken to Sam before. Sam was like, "You and Lee would get along great. You're really similar people." So I spoke to Lee. I was like, "I can probably trust Lee not to say anything after watching Lee's season. I don't think Lee's gonna go crazy and try and make any big moves." And then Lee just told everyone. I was like, "Well," and so I had to kind of once I figured out Lee was telling people, I had to decide, do I want to try and play this off or do I want to try and make something of this? So that's when I started going around to everyone and I was like, hey, I have this legacy advantage because my thought process there was that if I approached it not as like, hey, I hear you know that I have this advantage, but rather just approached it as, hey, I'm telling you I have this advantage, it still helped my trust with other people because it looked like I was just telling them of my own will and not because I felt forced to. Um, and it also set the grounds for me to basically lead the Lee vote out for that episode. So I think it was definitely I should have kept it completely secret, but I mean, considering the fact that the one person I told everyone, I think it worked out about as well as it could have there.
Now, did you feel like you were the one responsible for pushing that leave vote, or did you feel like because ultimately it was a unanimous vote, did you feel like you were kind of were the one pushing that?
I think to a good extent, yeah. There was a lot I noticed in the second episode that just wasn't on camera, and I don't know how much of it was actually caught on camera and how much was edited out. But there was a lot of me going around and saying, "Hey, Lee's telling everyone I have this thing. Maybe Lee's not so trustworthy. Maybe like if you tell anything to Lee, is Lee just gonna go and tell everyone else?" Like I pushed really hard saying Lee's suspicious. We can't trust Lee. And there was one point during this when I was already pushing Lee's name to everyone where Lee pulled me aside, and this isn't on camera. I do not make eye contact with people. That's like a thing with me. I'm autistic, so it's really difficult for me. And Lee pulls me aside and just goes, "Look me in the eyes and tell me you're voting with me." And I was like, panic mode. And I did it too. I managed to do it, and I think Lee believed me in the moment, but it was really difficult because I don't like lying to people at all. So it was like, I'm so sorry.
Now, I know the legacy advantage you could only use it certain rounds, but did you feel in danger because we do see that you ultimately end up using it? Was that just to kind of like throw the scent off your back, or like what was the strategy behind using the legacy advantage at that tribal council?
Oh, I didn't feel in danger at that tribal at all. I was pretty confident that I was fine there because even if Lee didn't get voted there, I didn't think votes were coming my way either. From what I'd heard and just from people's disposition towards me, I didn't get the vibe that I was in any danger at all there. The legacy being played, it was just I could only use it at 2 tribals, and once you get voted out, the legacy goes to someone else. So it was sort of like once everyone knew I had it, it was more dangerous to have on me. Because for one thing, people are gonna go, "Oh, that's a powerful thing Jay has, we need to get rid of that." Or even the greed aspect of if I vote Jay out, what are the chances that Jay trusts me enough to give it to me? Like, it was just too dangerous to have it in my pocket, considering I couldn't use it like an immunity idol, I could only use it at final 6, and the chances of me making it that far, like, I mean, they're just not really high for anyone, like, final 6 is a long way to go.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I kind of want to shift to this episode. In the beginning, we see Ryder has a confessional where he says that he knew you prior to the game. Can you give us a little bit more information about your relationship there?
So, Ryder and I didn't actually really know each other. We knew of each other. We were in the same community, but we definitely weren't friends or anything. In fact, we really hadn't even spoken. We just knew each other's, like, existence. But my reaction upon seeing Ryder made it very clear to people that we knew each other, which was not my smartest move. When Ryder walked up at the beginning and said his name, I looked straight at him and I just went, "I know you." And yet definitely not my best moment. Because that made it so clear that we knew each other, but thankfully my reaction actually was like Ryder then telling people like, "Oh yeah, I know Jay, but we don't get along," was such a good cover because my immediate reaction didn't seem happy to see him. It seemed like meeting someone I didn't want to meet. So
hmm
it was a really convincing playoff. But we did sort of bond. Like I did call him my closest ally at one point in this episode. We did sort of bond over having known each other previously, but we definitely weren't like friends going into the game. It was just really crazy to know someone when I lived as far away as I did.
hmm I mean, yeah, you call him your close ally, and then following the swap, you two are the only, I guess, original STEM
Oh.
members who stay on that tribe. Initial reaction when you guys you pull the STEM, the Vega tribe buff, and it's you and Ryder on the bottom with 4 original Danels on your tribe. Like, what are you thinking at that point?
I mean, at that point, I knew one of us was going home, and as sad as it was to say, it's like I knew they weren't going to turn on each other just based on them having won every challenge. I knew how well bonded they must have been, so I was like, okay, so one of us is going home here, so I just have to fight and try and make sure it's not me. And once we got back to camp, I was already getting that vibes of Ryder just fits in so much better with these people than I do. He's so much more social than I am. This comes so naturally to him. And I just felt like I wasn't clicking with people. And that's kind of the point where I was like, I'm definitely going home here. And then watching the episode was interesting because people were even saying, like, actually, we like Jay more. Ryder is too quick to say everything. We just don't think Jay is going to be as helpful in challenges. And that was actually really upsetting to watch because it was like, it kind of meant that I couldn't have done anything. If it had
Mhm.
been something like, oh, they clicked better with Ryder, I could have at least said, oh, I could have tried harder. But for them to just be like, no, Ryder looks like he'd be better in challenges, I was like, so I couldn't have done anything. Like, it was just, oh, that hurt.
I mean, yeah, I mean, with everything being said and done, do you regret not taking the immunity necklace during that challenge? I mean, you could have been safe for at least one more round.
Not exactly, because I think I would have gone home next if I did take it. However, I wish I had done something. Like, I really wish I had wanted to do this, but I was a little too afraid to do this in the moment. I wish I just gone ahead and done it because it would have been better than just standing there and going to tribal and going home. But I wish I'd like faked it and like started to walk up and tried to get someone from the other tribe to go, "Oh, we should go now so that we'll be safe instead." Like I wish I had done something other than just stand there.
I mean, yeah, when you guys are the challenge obviously lasted around 5 minutes and no one ended up taking the necklace. The humanities tribe didn't know you at that moment. They hadn't met you, but they did know that you went to Exile Island and then you had the potential to get an advantage. Was there any thought in your mind or like any potential for you to kind of bluff that you had an idol or like maybe the legacy advantage you had? Was there any kind of strategy behind trying to use that?
That's what Ryder told me to do, but no, in the moment I was just so focused on being like trustworthy and coming across as loyal and like you can work with me that I just told them everything. I was like, yeah, I had the legacy and I used it and I don't have it anymore. I really wish I'd lied about it and I just didn't. I It was a gamble cuz being honest could have helped me, but it also could have been the worst thing. So it was definitely a gamble there. I mean, I don't know if telling them any sort of lie would have changed the outcome of that at all. So it's just hindsight's 50-50, although I still don't know what would have happened even if I'd done things differently.
I mean, yeah, you never know, and I definitely think that like kind of was a point of the challenge to see kind of like there's so many different options about who gets it and like what tribe goes to tribal. So Nikki pulls the rock, and you guys end up going to tribal council. But you guys walk back to camp, and then the old Danos tribe is Jacob, Sean, Mark, and Nikki. Can you talk a little bit about the relationships you try to build with them? And I know you talked a little bit about it earlier about you're kind of getting along with them, but can you delve a little further for me?
I think we got along well. I do think that the decision on who to keep did come down a lot more to challenge stuff because I really do think that I got along well with these people, even if I didn't necessarily follow as naturally into conversation like Ryder did. But like, especially with Mark, Mark and I had a little moment before the tribes were picked where I was like, I want to be on your team. And he was like, that would be awesome. And then I got sent to exile. So it was like, well, rip. Um, but I definitely think we got along well. Nikki and I clicked great. Like I think we sort of bonded over the whole like femininity aspect because we kept joking about being the pretty ones and whatnot. Um and I mean you can even hear after I get voted off, Nikki saying, let's go get drinks together sometimes. Like we really did click. It just I think it definitely did come down more to a game decision than we don't like Jay decision when it came to who to vote out.
I mean, yeah, the episode kind of presents it as either you or Ryder as the ones who are going home. But was there any cracks with the four of the original Daniels tribe, or did you feel like anyone was on the bottom of that tribe? I mean, you had one returning in Jacob, and you had like these big players. Did you think there was any way that you can maneuver yourself into that?
I don't think there was any way there that I was getting them to turn on each other. To say there weren't any cracks wouldn't be entirely true, but I don't think there was anything big enough that I could have taken advantage of to get them to vote out one of themselves there. The one thing I really did notice is that a lot of them seemed to kind of be iffy about Jacob. Like that was the one person that was kind of like he's going to be the first one to go once they've taken out the Vega tribe.
Yeah, so obviously at tribal council, you are voted out unanimously, and you end up voting for Ryder. Was there any plan for you and Ryder to kind of stick together because maybe try to flip someone or maybe flip two people, or was your plan always just going to be to go against each other and see whoever the original Humanities tribes goes with?
We talked briefly about working together and trying to get them on one of them, but as soon as we both got onto that tribe and got to camp and sort of realized these people are never going to turn on each other, it kind of was like, okay, yeah, no, we're both going to vote for each other. We know we're both going to vote for each other. We both told each other I'm not going to vote for you, but we both also knew that was a lie at the same time. It was like, it's one of those situations where you know the other person's lying and it's like you can't really say anything because you're lying as well.
Mhm. Yeah, it's definitely a tricky situation. So what are your, like, kinda thoughts about Survivor and CSU following being blurred out and following watching the episode? What is your overall reaction to everything?
I have really enjoyed seeing myself on camera. The episodes have been really fun to watch. I noticed they're a lot longer than last time. Last times were like what, 15 minutes an episode?
Mhm.
It's definitely been really enjoyable. I
Length.
hmm?
I'm saying season 1 was a good length, I'd say.
Yeah, no, I mean season 1 was shorter, but there were also way less people and
Mhm.
like not as much planned out, so it was like you can't really blame them for that.
Yeah.
Um but it was definitely it's been enjoyable to watch the episodes, like I said, mostly for myself, but I mean, I think I'll keep watching them even though I'm out now. I mean, there's still people I want to see how they did, so I mean, it's kind of is what it is.
Okay, yeah, and then I do have to ask, you can choose not to answer, but do people actually call you Dr. Jason?
No, so the reason I mentioned that is because that was my old online username in the community in Sam's community.
Mhm.
So I knew people wouldn't recognize me based off my appearance, so I was kind of like, "Hey, I'm Jay. Some of you may know me as Dr. Jason," because I knew it was going to be Sam advertises the show to his community. So I knew if people from his community were going to be watching, that was going to be the thing that was going to tell them who I was, and I wanted them cheering for me. So that was the only reason I threw that in at the beginning there.
I mean, yeah, I did get a lot of questions about, like, if was that just yeah, I just got questions about that. So I wanna move into the little game that I do, just a quick word association. I'll tell you a name of someone on the cast,
Oh
and you just
god.
give me your first, like, words or phrase that pops into your head. Make sense?
Sure. I feel like I'm gonna hurt some feelings here.
I mean, be as unfiltered as you want, and then, the people that you don't meet in the show, I kinda have towards the end, so if you don't really have a lot to say for them, that's fine. Okay, Mark,
Snake?
Maggie,
I don't know. I didn't know her. Like, I just watched her get voted out.
Lee,
Liar?
Caleb,
Awesome. I love Caleb.
Jameson,
Broccoli. His hair.
Ryder.
This is like way more difficult than it needs to be.
Just the first thing that comes to your head.
For writer, I just say Discord because that's where I know him from.
Discord. Jacob,
I feel like anything I say for Jacob's gonna be insulting. Is he sassy? He's definitely sassy.
Sassy, alright.
Like in
Nikki,
a good way. Oh, gorgeous. I love Nikki. Literally my queen.
Sean,
I don't know how to say just like one word about him.
any phrase or something?
He was a pain in the ass to me, I'll tell you that.
We didn't see that. Aziza,
No, you didn't. You didn't see what happened with us. Aziza was really cunning. She was really smart.
Quinn,
Oh, Quinn's just so fun. He's adorable. Quinn's awesome.
Lindsay,
She's really pretty, really sweet. I didn't see much of her in terms of game, but really sweet.
Anna,
Really smart, definitely. I think there was a lot that I wish I could have been on a team with her. She was really smart.
and lastly, Jake.
Ah, Jake's just really cool. Jake's really cool. I like Jake. Jake's awesome.
Yeah, so that's all of them. But you did get my, like, curiosity peaked when your reaction to Sean. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I don't think we saw any
Ugh, I'm
interactions with
so
Sean and
mad it wasn't on camera, and I knew it wasn't gonna be on camera too, but I wish it was. There was a point where people were off talking to Ryder, and we were all sitting, like, in a group at the camp, right? And I looked to Sean and I go, "Do you wanna go talk?" And he just goes, "No, I don't think we need to." And I was like, "What?" Who says no in Survivor to "Do you wanna talk?"
I mean, yeah, we
It
didn't see
was
that, but
yeah, it was like, "Oh my god."
that's crazy.
I don't really dislike anyone on the cast. I know some of my answers seemed mean. It was just like based on stuff that happened in the game, but I really like everyone on the cast. It was a really cool cast.
No, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, do you have any final thoughts or anything else that you wanna kind of leave your Survivor NCSU note on?
I mean, I definitely don't regret any of it, despite how early I went home and despite how much money I spent on it. It was like if I was winning, I wasn't getting much back anyway. Like $100 compared to the 2,000 I spent to go. It's kind of like, um, it was really fun. I had a great time doing it, and I mean, it sort of cemented the fact that I want to move to Raleigh because I loved being there and getting to see everything. So it was definitely something I'd do again if I got the opportunity, and I'm just really happy I got to be a part of it. So
Yeah, I mean, that's great. It's definitely an experience and glad you had a good time. And then again, sorry, one last question that just came in. Again, you don't have to answer it, but your hair in the season, I got a lot of questions about that too. Can you talk about your hair and like that whole process? Because there are stan accounts for your hair, there are fan accounts, there are people that your wig is trending on Twitter.
I mean, it is a wig, so definitely that that's I can't believe that. That's insane. No, I saw the comment on like the Meet the Cast video from like a brand new account that was like, "Oh my god, Jay, my queen." I was like, Sam even messaged me. Sam was like, "Is that you? Is that you on an alt?" I was like, "No, I don't know who that is." Like, I have no idea. Um, I just my hair was really, really awkward at that time. Like, it was this really awkward length, and it was just like so messily dyed, like, ugh. So when I bought that wig specifically for the season, it's literally just a $40 wig from Amazon. Like, and I was like, I have to do something so that I just don't look like a mess on this season. So I got the wig, styled it, did my makeup all nice, just tried to be as pretty as possible because I'm that's just how I am. And I mean, now I obviously look completely different, so I'm sure that has to be a little bit a little bit of a surprise seeing me now compared to on the show.
I mean, yeah, definitely like didn't even recognize you.
Cut all my hair off.
The wig's gone, snatched.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like, way longer than this even naturally. It was, like, down to my shoulders, and just a couple weeks ago, I just got bored and I was like, "Cut it all off." So now it's gone.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jay, for being here and doing this interview. It's been a good time, and yeah.
Thank you for having me, seriously.
Mhm.